Welcome back to Nebraska Secondary School online YouTube channel. Dear students, the previous class we discussed about the Renaissance, and that Renaissance has influenced various fields of social life. In this section, we are going to discuss about the topic the Reformation. Reformation means it is a religious renaissance. It is the religious renaissance. In the Renaissance had say in the religious spheres also. In Europe, the refinement underwent by the European Christianity in the 16th century is known as Reformation. The refinement underwent by the European Christianity in the 16th century is known as Reformation. It began in Germany. We know that Germany is a European country. The Reformation, it began in Germany, and this movement, the Reformation movement led by the Martin Luther. Now we are going to discuss about the topic Industrial Revolution. We know that Industrial Revolution is an invention of new machines in England. So it began in England. The previous class we discussed about the invention of new instruments such as the telescope and a new machine, the printing press, that are widely spread all over the Renaissance idea in all over the world. We are discussed also. So in this section, Industrial Revolution has began in England. Okay, we are going to examine the Renaissance in the field of science. So it is called, the Industrial Revolution is called the invention of new machines. Invention of new machines. The invention of new machines which brought about immense change in the field of production. The new machines, invention of new machines which brought about immense change in the field of production. Consequently, the production increased and the cost of production decreased. The after effect of invention of new machines in the field of production, the production increased. The cost of production decreased. Such changes in the field of production is called the Industrial Revolution. Okay, what do you mean by Industrial Revolution? Industrial Revolution is the invention of new machines which brought about immense change in the field of production. Consequently, the production increased and the cost of production decreased. Such changes in the field of production is known as Industrial Revolution. It began in England. The major industrial inventions during the Industrial Revolutions is the spinning jenny and the steam engine, locomotive, etc. are the various inventions in the Industrial Revolutions. Okay. Now we are going to discuss the next section, in search of sea roads. We earlier studied that the Constantinople conquered by the Turks in 4053. This conquering is dismantled trade relation between Asia to Europe. It dismantled means it abolished or it intervened. So it dismantled the trade relation between the Europe and the Asia. We know that the Constantinople is the gateway from Asia to Europe. So it dismantled the trade relation between the Europe and the Asia. So it necessitated that the Europeans traded to discover a new sea route to Asia with the help of the invention of the compass. With the help of invention of the compass. The compass invented by the Han dynasty and Song dynasty. In Chinese dynasty as the Han dynasty and Song dynasty. The Europeans traders want to discover new sea route to Asia with the help of invention of compass and also the spirit of adventure. The Europeans and the spirit of adventure uncovered unknown roads, oceans and seas are the I want to discover a new sea route to Asia. Now we are going to look up the conclusion of this chapter. We are going to conclude this chapter. We are first section of our class that was discussed about the Hagia Sophia. We know that Hagia Sophia is one of the important monuments in the history of the world. It was preserved as a museum in Turkey, and it is an epitome of architectural splendors of the Constantinople. We are know that the Hagia Sophia, it is located in Constantinople. We know that the Constantinople is the present Istanbul, the Eastern world capital city of the Eastern Roman Empire. So the place of the history of the world. And we also discussed the features of various features of the Constantinople. We know that the center of knowledge, one of the important feature of the Constantinople is the center of the knowledge and abode of scholarly and treasure trove of scholarly text, and the gateway from the Asia to Europe. These are the main features of the Constantinople. And we know that when the Turks conquered the Constantinople in 4053, after the conquering, it resulted the all the people of the Constantinople has migrated to nearby areas. We know that so many people are migrated to Italy, and we are many of them migrated to Italy. What is the reason for the behind the migration to Italy? Italy was a country that upheld the rich Greco-Roman tradition. That was the main answer. Italy was the country that upheld the rich Greco-Roman tradition. The rich Italian traders loved. They are loved the literature, arts, and etc. And these traders were also kept to preserve the historical and cultural heritage of the country. It are the very features of the Italy. And we know that the Renaissance, next topic, that was Renaissance. The Renaissance that started in Italy. We know that the Renaissance began in Italy. We also discussed about what is Renaissance. I already told you the new spirit of humanism that inspired the unique thought of the universe and the human life, and it also promoted the reasoning, scientific temper, and spirit of inquiry. Consequently, a new awakening in all the spheres of human life become visible in the Europe is known as the Renaissance. That Renaissance influenced various the field of social life such as literature, arts, science. These are the various field of social life. We know that the Renaissance in literature. We know the eminent worker in the Renaissance period. It was Petrarch, and he is the father of the Renaissance. So his major work was Secretum. That was the other writers of the Renaissance period. We know that Dante, Boccaccio, Cervantes, Erasmus. These are the other writers in the Renaissance period. And we also discussed about their major works. Also we are discussing field of arts. The Renaissance in the field of arts, we know that the famous painter, it was Leonardo da Vinci, and he was a famous painter, and his major works was Mona Lisa and the Last Supper of the Yesu Christu, and the next important painter, it was the Michelangelo and the Raphael. We also discussed their painters. Renaissance in the field of science, the invention of printing press and the invention of telescope has changed the total view of the people, and the invention of printing press uh, that are helpful to propagate the Renaissance ideas to worldwide. Who is invented the printing press? We know that the Gutenberg is the invented the printing press, and who is invented by the telescope. We know that the Galileo was invented by the telescope. These are the major things we are discussed in the European transition, and last section we discussed about the Reformation and the Industrial Revolution. Reformation, the Renaissance had say in the religious spheres also the refinement underwent by the European Christianity in the 16th century is known as the Reformation, and the Reformation has begun in Germany, and this movement was led by the Martin Luther. Discussed the Reformation. Reformation, we know that the Renaissance had say in the field of religious spheres also. The refinement in the underwent by the European Christianity in the 16th century is known as the Reformation, and this began in Germany, and this movement is led by the famous activist the Martin Luther. And the next we are discussing about the industrial revolution. We know the science, it is a part of science. Industrial revolution is the part of science. Industrial revolutions means the invention of new machines which brought about immense change in the field of production. The production increased, the cost of production decreased. Such changes in the field of production is also called the industrial revolution. The industrial revolution, it began in England. These are the major conclusion of this chapter.